let's take a moment to talk about our sponsor.
Are you a veteran DM with more campaign ideas than prep time? Yeah, of course you are. Aren't we all? Does your party have a habit of going to the person or place that you would least expect? If they're like my group, they sure do. What if I were to tell you that I could put a team of professional writers alongside you at your desk to cut down on your campaign prep? What if I were to tell you that you could bring them along with you at your game sessions for when those pesky players go off the rails? Sounds pretty good, huh? With Describe, we could do just that. These narratives vividly describe monsters, places, spells, people, you name it. It's there. And there are more than 6,000 of these easy to search up, copy and pastable, beautifully written narratives right at your fingertips. I've been running games for the better part of 40 years, and I must admit, I've gotten a bit lazy. I just don't have the time I used to. And I've been using Terrain, which is minimizing my need for descriptive narratives. Stuff is right out there in front of you. Why describe it? When I was prepping for an Acorns Journey, a D&D story, I used Describe quite a bit. When you listen, you can hear it. One of the things I like the most about Describe is that if the narrative doesn't fit perfectly with your encounter, it's easy to modify while still sounding really good. I did that an awful lot. I think this makes the more than 6,000 narratives that they have available for you even more valuable. It almost doubles what you have at your fingertips. You should give it a shot. Describe has graciously provided us with a discount for our listeners. Head on over to describe.com/DMD. That's DSCRYB.com/DMD. Use the code DMD at checkout to try Describe for 2 weeks free. Links will be in the show notes.
And now, back to the show.
Greetings and salutations, DMs, GMs, referees, judges, game operations directors, and all other varieties of storytellers. This is your DM, Scott, and it's time for another DM Quick Tip. It's Explain the Plane. What is the Phlogiston? Okay, before we get rolling along on our journey through the Phlogiston, let's establish one thing before the Spelljammer takes off. Yes, I know the Phlogiston is not a plane. It just fits, okay? Yeah, we went down a rabbit hole, but you knew what you were getting into when you tuned in. So sit down, buckle yourself in, and let's fire ourselves off into the Phlogiston and a pecker-shaped Spelljammer that would make Jeff Bezos proud. Wait, not that chair. That's the captain's chair. Yeah, you got to have a yellow shirt to sit in that one. That chair is mine. Thanks. The Phlogiston is that space between crystal spheres and the flammable fluid-like substance that is everywhere in that space between the crystal spheres. Yes, flammable fluid. It makes traveling via the transitive plane sound pretty attractive, doesn't it? So with that said, while aboard this giant phallus, we ask that you don't smoke. Keeping with the theme of flammable fluid, the Phlogiston is filled with this fluid-like substance that is multicolored. It is almost like looking at a puddle of spilled gasoline, where you can see the swirls of different colors in that puddle. The Phlogiston must look similar. Veteran sailors of this rainbow liquid often refer to it as the rainbow ocean, or simply the flow. The flow, I really like this one, varies in density from location to location and behaves much like bodies of water do, with ripples, eddies, tides, and currents, kind of like an ocean or a river. Sometimes these ripples, eddies, tides, and currents lead from one crystal sphere to another. Spacefarers often use these currents to speed up travel from one sphere to the other. Traveling through the flow is not necessarily a safe journey, and not just because the Phlogiston is highly combustible. There is a variety of other travelers and creatures native to the Phlogiston, and some aren't always friendly. So I would tell you this, never wear a red shirt into the Phlogiston. It's just bad luck, man. The purpose of traveling the Phlogiston is to travel from sphere to sphere. The crystal spheres are not tethered in the Phlogiston. They're like a fishing bobber. They bob in the fluid of the flow, but unlike our fishing bobber, they are untethered and bob freely. This means that they are not always in the same position they were last time you traveled to that particular sphere. This makes travel somewhat challenging, but it is not impossible to navigate the flow. Most just randomly float in the Phlogiston, but have some stable patterns that are predictable. This makes travel much easier. For example, there is a stable configuration of realm space, toral, gray space,
oith, and Kryn space, Kryn. This triangular configuration of the three different spheres has a strong current that flows between them. This could explain in some way why Bahamut is a shared god between Toril and Kryn. On Kryn, of course, he is called Paladine. In some parts of the Phlogiston, you will encounter dark regions. Now, these dark regions are areas of cloud-like formations of negative energy, and these regions can be even more dangerous than most of the Phlogiston. Because of the highly combustible nature of the Phlogiston, all flames must be extinguished on the Spelljammer vessel before entering the flow. Only magical light or natural light produced by non-combustible means could be used. The Phlogiston cannot be reproduced, nor can it be carried into realm space. One cannot access the planes while traveling the Phlogiston, so don't even try. Do you have any idea how many red shirt-clad spacefarers met a horrific death trying to do so? Neither do I, but I bet it was a lot. Throughout your travels through the Phlogiston, you would know the crystal spheres are not visible. They only become visible as you get closer to them, and due to their massive size, they do not appear as orbs, but rather as flat discs. That brings us to the end of this episode. It appears that we are approaching an alien vessel. Mr. Aponte, open hailing frequencies. We come in peace. Mr. Robotile, arm phasers. Shoot to kill. I sure hope there are some green women on this planet. Now, there are many ways you can explain the plane, or in this case, the Phlogiston, but this is my way. We'll see you next time in the dojo. You can support the Dungeon Master's Dojo in some very simple ways. Be patronizing, like Lou, and become a patron on Patreon and unlock exclusive patron content.
Or if you're like Scott and long-term commitment is an issue, you can buy a Sasaki, shop our merch page for DMD swag, or use our Drive-Thru RPG affiliate link next time you shop Drive-Thru RPG.
Or visit us on the web at thedungeonmastersdojo.com. There, you'll find links to all the above. Don't forget to email us and say hello.
Thanks for listening.